Hello, this is Sculpt January number 31, and the subject was happy. So I chose to do a female face this time, with a sort of cartoony look, rather than my usual caricature of men. Which is tougher in some ways because you haven't got all the creases and wrinkles to kind of guide the eye. So you have to be quite smooth with all your shading. I started off with just a sphere and used the snake hook tool. I find that's the quickest thing when you're just doing a sort of face or bust. And I started off with a really wide smile. I thought that'd be quite fun, but it was very frustrating all the way through because it just didn't look quite right. So I made it a bit smaller and more traditional. It seemed to start off okay, but when I got to the detailing in the lips, it got very frustrating and just didn't work. I got to a point of the basic shape which I was happy with to start off with quite quickly, which I'm quite pleased about. I think it must mean I'm getting better, and I probably could have upped the detail a little bit earlier. I didn't worry too much about the ears because I had a plan to do some hair, so I wasn't sure how much they'd be covered, but I wasn't going to add too much detail until I knew fully. I had lots of reference images. It was actually quite difficult to find side view reference images of sort of cartoon characters because most people do them front on or slightly to the side, a sort of third on. But I managed to find a couple and just go from experience. You can see I'm just spending lots of time on the lips. I suppose that's where the expression is mainly based, especially as this character has closed eyes. And you can see me struggling here with the cheeks and the lips. It sort of works, but the overbite just seems too big somehow. It's actually kind of easier looking back at it on the screen as I'm doing a commentary than it was whilst I was drawing it to see what was wrong. And it's very interesting reading some comments back on YouTube about what people think of my models, and they give me hints and tips. The female torso, for example, someone said, oh, the top half just looks way too small, and I keep looking at it now thinking, yep, it's way too small. It's frustrating, but it's really good to hear all the comments as well. It's absolutely vital to grow as an artist because you can kind of get stuck thinking your pieces are really good and you're really proud of them until someone points out the faults and inaccuracies. But it's those faults and inaccuracies that help us grow and reach our potential. So I'm a bit happy with the lips like this, just nice and simple, but the character doesn't look quite as happy. More very content. Had lots of fun with the hair, just pulling it around, shifting it into place, but it's something I haven't done a lot of, apart from that fluffy sheep, which wasn't particularly hairy, more sort of fluffy. So getting the waves and lines of the hair was quite interesting. And it was reasonably time consuming. It might be just that I'm not used to it, but I was surprised how long it took me, the hair. I'm still kind of figuring out what to do for the next months. I won't do a tutorial video every day, it is a bit too exhausting, but I'm hoping to do one 2 to 3 times a week, all going well. There may be some gaps here and there. I've also got a bit of freelance work to complete, so I'm looking forward to doing that. And some people have asked me to join them making a game, and I'll probably get involved with those things. I might do a few tutorials about just the gaming industry in general. Because I teach games design, we have a lot of contact with universities and a bit of contact with businesses, so I could probably offer some advice in those circles. Let me know if you want to hear those sort of things, and if you have any ideas or wants for tutorials or particular interests. I can't promise I'll do them all, but I'll certainly look into them. So I'm using the crease tool the most on this bit, just creasing and pinching, adding the detail all the way around. It was quite interesting. I thought this would be easy when I textured it, and I thought it would come out quite well, but it was quite tough to get something that I thought looked quite good. I've actually gone away from constant detail. After doing all that hard surface modelling, I found that relative detail is actually really good. There's certain times you'd want to use constant detail, and the detail flood fill is very useful, especially if you want to then go across to the multi-resolution modifier. So I'll still be using both. I'm just using a clay brush with a really minimal setting just to paint over it. That will add the topology, so I've got it on a fairly high detail level, and then just smoothing it out. I've gone to smooth shading as well, so that I can see any glitches and lumps. So I found my other models have still been quite lumpy. I tried some different techniques with the eyelashes, which I wasn't that pleased with really. I'm still working that one out. I had this idea of making a mesh and then sculpting lots of eyelashes, which might have been okay, but it's just a bit too time consuming at this point. And then I thought I'd go for the more simple method of drawing a line, snapping it onto the eyelid, and then solidifying and subdividing and sort of stylizing. The eyelashes looked okay, but they kind of struggled with the eyebrows. I'm not really sure why. It's really important to always look at your reference images, even if you think you know something. So I placed the eyebrows really high to start off with, and then had to move them around. Now I've baked the hair and the face separately, and then I hooked them up to 2 separate materials, using the ambient occlusion, cavity and normal maps as normal. And I used a bit of subsurface scattering this time. It would have been nice to have a skin shader and plug that in, but I haven't really got time to add that sort of detail. But you can see it took me a while to get the hair where I wanted it, and the face for that matter. and the eyebrows never seem to look quite right. So there we have it, number 31. Happy. And I'm certainly happy that I've got to the end. It's been a great journey and a great experience, and I really appreciate your support all the way through. I don't think I would have made it without that, so I'm really grateful. Thank you very much to everybody that commented, liked the videos, and supported me in any way. So let me know if you've got any other ideas. Still check out Sculpt January, links are in the description. There's some great stuff out there. I'm quite jealous. And thanks again for following me on this incredible journey.